if you're Niagara and you're Canisius, what are you about? What is your mission? What are you about institutionally? What does it really mean to you? And are you transactional as an institution, or do you believe that your mission is to be transformational?
It's time now for the Nuff Said with Bob Koshinski podcast, brought to you by Chef's Famous Italian Restaurant, home to spaghetti parm and rich entertainment. They bring friends and family together through unforgettable experiences. And the Big Weck Radio, home to the oldies. Bob's guest on part 2 of this episode is the voice of the Toronto Raptors, Jack Armstrong.
Okay, so you brought up something I want to get into this with you, and that is the change in college basketball, NIL money. We are in what used to be a hotbed of college basketball with the Little Three and, Niagara, Canisius, and St. Bonaventure, and now you have UB. But the NIL money has left these teams in the dust. Bonaventure is trying to survive in the Atlantic 10.
And they've had a great run, by the way. I mean, Mark Schmidt did an amazing job there. They should put a statue on campus of that guy. He did an amazing job. And obviously a friend of both of us, Mike McDonald, I'm very excited about. I just got the announcement an hour ago that Mike was named. So I'm super excited for Mike, and I wish him well. And I know Woj very well, both St. Bonaventure guys. So they'll do the best that they can. It's hard, man. It's hard. And I feel for Niagara and Canisius. I think UB's got a little bit more, George has got a little bit more to work with in terms of the finances than Niagara and Canisius do. But those are tough jobs. And, when you evaluate a coach now, a lot of it comes down to, a guy could have a great record and not be that good a coach, but he's got the money to throw around. Right. And you could have a guy who's coaching his brains out, but he's got no money to work with. And, the average lazy fan will say, well, that guy's a bad coach. We got to make a change. No, the problem isn't the coach. A lot of times it's the institutional commitment. It's funny. John Calipari spoke about it when Arkansas beat High Point. My son, Kevin, we visited High Point. My oldest son, he's being recruited for soccer. And we visited the campus, and I was absolutely blown away. This would have been like 2014. And look, I've been, recruited forever, been on all these different campuses.
Right.
I was blown away. And here we are 12 years later, and they've put even more money into their facilities, and they got NIL. So High Point, they're all in. And John Calipari made a good point, though. He goes, administrators, your president, your board of trustees, your athletic director, they're the ones that define your success now. If they're not all in, and I lived it too, if you don't have people that are totally committed and all in, you're going to have a hard time winning. But it's even more dramatic now with NIL.
Is there room for a Niagara and Canisius in Division I basketball going forward?
I don't know. It's hard. And what is this all about? I want to just use two terms, Bob. Is this maybe I'm being pie in the sky optimistic. I always believe that college basketball, college athletics was supposed to be transformational. That part of it was the experience of getting a degree and all those types of things that mattered. And you grew from it. You didn't bail and transfer every year when things didn't go your way. You battled. Yeah, guys would transfer, that's fine. But sooner or later, you had to look in the mirror and get it done. You had to fight through adversity and prove yourself. we've given kind of an escape hatch now. So that's one thing. And secondly, there were always people doing things under the table. Now everything's on the table.
Yeah.
So it's become transactional. The whole thing's transactional now. And to me, if you're Niagara and you're Canisius, what are you about? What is your mission? What are you about institutionally? What does it really mean to you? And are you transactional as an institution, or do you believe that your mission is to be transformational? And right now, you're in a world that's transactional. And either you get in that world, or you got to look in the mirror and say, what are we and what are we about? There's no shame in being University of Rochester, University of Scranton, John Carroll, all wonderful Division III institutions that have success in athletics, and their core values align. I spoke in Vancouver in January at the University of British Columbia to their at a huge breakfast for all their athletic, all their student athletes and all their donors, and it was incredible. It was great. And I said, I want to congratulate you because you get it here. This is transformational. Kids are, athletics is a part of their being. It's helping them grow. It's helping them enhance their collegiate experience. But these 4 years affect how you do the next 40. You have guys that are going to go to 4 or 5 schools. What a reunion are they going to go to? What booster is helping them with a job after? I mean, the last 3 schools you left, they're telling you, hit the road, buddy. You know, so it's lost its way. I'm fine with the kids getting money. I just think that we have to find a way to, it's got to have some control to it. And then the transfer portal is the thing I have a bigger problem with, because to me, you just can't jump every year. If we're going to be transactional, then I'm going to sign you to a 3-year deal, and you're going to honor it. Because I think what's going to happen is you're going to have donor fatigue. What's going to happen is, hey, look, I'm giving money, and you're out the door 8 months later, and now I got another kid. Screw that. I'm not doing that.
Right.
You know, so, yeah, you'll have the Kentuckys of the world and all that, but I think even at that level, even if you have a lot of money, after a while you're like, man, who's the sucker here? I'm a billionaire. I'm not the but I'm saying if you're a billionaire supporter of Duke, and you're like, hold on, man, I'm a sucker here. You know, this dude's using me, and he's out the door, and he ain't getting it done, and he's going to the next place. Yeah, there's another guy coming in, but at some point, that to me, the transfer portal, look, if you want to transfer, if a coach leaves, you absolutely have the right to leave, no doubt. That should have always been there. I do think that you should have a one-time opportunity to transfer, no penalty. After the one time, you got to sit a year. And you get 5 years to play for. And if you want to go a second time and cost yourself a year on your clock, so be it. That's your decision. Sooner or later, you got to make it work. Nick McCarchick, former Canisius coach, and I worked for Nick at Fordham. And Nick had a great line. He goes, every decision in life could be the wrong one. Somehow, some way, you have to make it the right one. Sooner or later, you got to plant your flag and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and whatever's in my way, I got to fight through it. And to me, that's what we're not teaching now. And it's all, I'm going to the next place, and they're going to give me 10,000 more. Boom, I'm going there. Look, and I get it. You know, the money in some cases is very good, and I don't begrudge kids that. I just think at some point in time, if it's going to be transactional, then let's make it transactional.
Well, it's also affecting the high school game, because kids aren't staying in their high schools. They're going to a school, a prep school, somewhere where they can be ready to jump for the big money in college. Gone are the days where, you know, I'm going to stick with that 4-year high school where I grew up and my parents went to school and everything else, because I have an opportunity to make money in college. It used to be I have an opportunity to make money in the pros, right? So you'd pick the right college so they could prepare for that. Now you're going for the money. most of these schools, Jack, you have an entire different roster year after year after year.
I was at a cocktail party one time, and I won't say the name or any of the location, but I'm chatting with a dad, and his son was playing at Harvard for Tommy Amaker. I said, "Oh, I know Tommy. Good guy, good coach, blah, blah, blah. Good man, good coach. Your son's in a great place." And, he's like the sixth man, good player. He says, I'm thinking, we might leave. Like, where are you going? And then he starts naming schools. I'm like, hold on a minute. I said, I'm only going to say it if you give me permission to say it. Would you like my opinion? He goes, yeah. I mean, you work in the NBA with the Raptors, and you were a Division I head coach, yada, yada. Sure. I said, I think you're blanking nuts. I said, your son has a better chance of owning an NBA team, running an NBA team, or being the commissioner of the NBA than he does playing in the NBA. Your son is at blanking Harvard. Are you blanking kidding me? Don't blank your kid up. See it through, because those 4 years affect how you do the next 40. Respectfully, he's not going to play in the NBA. Don't screw it up.
Right.
But that's what we have now. So where are we all trying to get to? Now, like when you get the high major guy, I get it. That's a whole different conversation. But to your point, there are a lot of guys that are low major, mid major, or Division II guys, whatever, that we are not in the world of reality anymore. And everybody's chasing something that, and we're not valuing
What
that.
are the percentages from college to the pros?
Oh, it's I mean,
it's like 2%.
Not even less than 1%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
At Rich Entertainment Group, their mission is simple: bringing friends and families together through unforgettable experiences. From live sports and theater productions to luxury travel and hospitality, they're creating moments that people truly remember. With 19 businesses and growing, Rich Entertainment Group isn't just a group of companies. It's a community built around connection, joy, and shared experiences. It's all about bringing people together, and honestly, that's something we can all use a little more of.
All right, so I want to, before I wrap this up, I'm going to completely change direction, okay? We've known each other for a long time, and I'm not going to take, first off, I've been around you for a long part of the road, and you did some work for us at Empire Sports,
yeah,
right?
Thank you.
You were a studio guy. You did the games.
And what was the radio station?
WNSA.
Yeah.
And then you became this. I should have gone into this right off the top. He is one of the biggest sports celebrities in Toronto. What amazes
the checks in the mail. Thank you, Bob.
You've done Christmas albums.
Yeah.
When you cross that border, you're a superstar. If you're on Center Street in Lewiston, I say this all the time. If you see Jack walking down Center Street and you wave, hey, buy me a beer, you're Jack from Lewiston.
I'm Coach. Hey, in Lewiston, I'm Coach or Jack.
You cross the border, you're a whole different animal.
And I love being in Lewiston because I can just kind of be a knucklehead and be myself, and like everyone knows me. And there's been so many coaches after me at Niagara now. I'm kind of like in the witness protection program now, like, so now it's like, hey, he's an old guy. He used to coach Niagara years ago. Oh, yeah, hey, Coach, how you doing? But it's great.
You beautifully followed in the footsteps, not that you came after him, but of Frank Layden. I mean, you're a great speaker. You're a great dinner speaker. You're great on the air, and Frank was one of the all-time best. Quick story. So one of the big dinners at the in the ballroom of the Niagara Falls Convention Center, and they brought in Calvin Murphy.
Yep.
Calvin had just gotten into the NBA Hall of Fame, and our buddy Ray Kiss was there, and you had just come out. You were named Coach of the Year.
Yep.
And Ray Kiss said, Bob, I've got a whole envelope of Frank Layden jokes that he gave me, and I want to give them to you because you like to do dinners. And I tried using Frank's jokes. They didn't work for me because Frank's deadpan delivery, and I mean, I remember saying, well, Jack Armstrong was named Coach of the Year, and then the punchline is, which tells you what kind of year it's been. But I said it, and everybody, they gave you like a standing ovation. I'm like, how do I do the punchline now? But anyway, but one of the things I will take responsibility for on your career, because I believe you're still great friends with Bill Polian.
Yes.
Yes.
I had lunch with Bill in November in Charlotte, and then Bill came to our game that night. Bill came to our shoot-around that day, and I introduced him to our general manager, Bobby Webster, who's a young GM. And I just left them to spend a few hours together, a little mentorship session. And Bobby's a wonderful young executive and a great guy. And Bill's a huge basketball fan, as you know. And you introduced Bill and I at a Knights of Columbus communion breakfast, and I sat with Bill and his three sons at the breakfast, and I remained very close with his three sons. So, and Bill I remain close with, and one of the greatest sports executives ever.
Oh, yeah. So he agreed to, unbelievably, he agreed to come do this communion breakfast for the Knights of Columbus in Niagara Falls, New York.
And I had just been hired as the head coach at Niagara.
So I'm thinking, who do I put him with, right? Look, I'm from the Falls. You talk about knuckleheads. We lead the league in knuckleheads, okay? Who do I put Bill Polian with, right? That's not going to say something that's crazy like the Bill stink or whatever. I got to be. So I'm like, well, Jack's a downstate guy. Bill's a downstate guy. I'll put them together. And it became a great friendship.
Well, we're two Irish guys from New York.
Yeah.
He's from the Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn. And we knew about 100 people, mutual friends. So we connected right away. And Bill would have me at Bill's training camp every year, and got to know Coach Levy.
I drove
very
you the
well.
1 year.
And Bill would have my wife Dina and I in his suite. He would invite us, and we're season ticket holders. Yeah. He said, "I'll give you tickets away. Come sit with Eileen in the suite during the game." So we'd sit and we'd have drinks after games, and
Well, so the period to the sentence, Bill gets let go by the Bills. And he's asked to speak at a Niagara Catholic sports dinner that I'm emceeing, and you're also a guest at the Como restaurant.
Yep.
The dinner's over. The three of us go upstairs to the famous bar at the Como restaurant. And he held court for hours. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
He told us story after story. What happened with the Bills, and I won't use the guy's name, but he had a great line. I'll never forget it. He said, you know, when you're in an organization, every year you have to identify the guy in that organization who could end up costing you your job. And that's your job as a man. One of your jobs as a manager. And basically his point was that he missed the guy who ended up getting him, and I won't use the guy's name.
Yeah.
And he said, a trained chimp could have done his job, and he's the guy that got me outed. And I just remember spending moments like that, Jack, with guys of his caliber, and hearing the stories and hearing his insights. It's invaluable stuff. I mean, when you look back on a career, those are the moments, for me anyway, that stick out.
Well, I've had some amazing mentors, as a coach. Working for Tom Penders, who's in the College Basketball Hall of Fame, Nick McCarchick, both of them at Fordham. And then, the people I've had the opportunity, like the Niagara connection, like a Frank Layden. Sadly, Frank passed away this past summer. I was a pallbearer at his funeral, which was an incredible honor to be a pallbearer with John Stockton and Karl Malone and Thurl Bailey and David Checketts and some huge people in Utah Jazz. And out of nowhere, Scott Layden said, "Jack, it would be our honor. You represent Niagara. You represent New York. Irish,
right.
The whole bit. You and my dad were really, really close." And UB Brown, Niagara guy who really helped me a lot, making the transition from coaching to broadcasting. And UB's the greatest NBA analyst ever.
Yeah.
And he gave me great advice and great insight in that. And and a guy like Bill Polian, who has a great, the only thing uncommon is common sense. Bill has it. He has street smarts. He's got savvy. He really understands his craft, and he's paid his dues and paid the price and really understands it. and to have conversations with him for a long period of time really has helped my philosophy. And now that I make I've been with the Raptors 28 years. I've been around the greatest executives, coaches, owners, NBA office, the whole bit. You get to see it all happen. I'm like the parish priest. I hear everyone's confession, and I never reveal.
Right.
But I've had the greatest seat to witness why certain people succeed and why others don't. What makes a great leader and what doesn't. And I think a big part of it is just the ability to communicate and connect on a human level. And I think what's happening now in our society, it's interesting. I received an email today, and I'm saying, wait a minute, why did you communicate electronically when you could have picked up the phone and covered this topic? Because what's happening now in our society is people hide behind they hide behind the anonymous nature of the phone and the computer because they don't have the guts to look you in the eye and deal with issues head on. And I think the fabric of just those guys' names I mentioned, and I have so many others, people who've been mentors to me in my career as a broadcaster, great leaders, great TV people, great radio people, their ability to communicate and mentor, tell you why and how to do it and help you along. And I got to thank you for not only the opportunity at Empire, but at Adelphia Cable when I was the head coach at Niagara. I look now where my career is. I had my own TV show the entire time I was the head coach at Niagara. I had a weekly show, coaches show, on Adelphia Cable with Lou Panessa. But you were the one that got that started for me, and the great Bob Laurie. And that helped my skill set, and I never even thought I'd ever use it.
Right.
And here I am now in a whole different career. So I've had 2 careers in the sports business, and I can't thank that Orange Bowl enough. And thank you for helping me along when look, you always find out who your friends are when times get tough, when you get fired. And I'll never forget, right after I got let go at Niagara, and again, it's a name that in some ways in Western New York is controversial. I'm at a Buffalo Sabre game with my wife. Who do I run into? The owner of the Sabres, John Regas. And I see him. He comes right up to me, John, a St. Bonaventure man. He says, Jack, we have our network, and I want to assure you you're part of it. Any way I can help you and your family, you can count on me. And, he's a Bonnie guy. I'm a Niagara guy. But he goes, I respect you. I've always respected you. Carry yourself the right way. If there's anything I can do for you, and I will do for you, it's going to happen. And what's the old world, the old line, a true friend walks in when the rest of the world walks out. So over the course of over 40 years in sports, you learn who's on your bandwagon, who jumps off, and who stays there with you. And to me, it's been a great ride. It's been a great experience, and I love what I'm doing. I hope to continue to do it for a while. I'm blessed. I'm really fortunate.
Well, it's remarkable. You've made the right choices along the way, and it's got you to where you are today. And it's great to have you here. We're going to have we'll have you back in the summer because you've touched on so many things that I could go into, but I can only edit this for so many hours. But Jack, it's been great having you on. All the continued success because you've done such a great job up in Toronto. You must have the guys at the bridge would they just wave you through or?
Well, they all want to know, hey, what's going on tonight? What do you think? Because so I don't, so is Koshinski playing tonight? So I'm like, I don't know nothing. So it's like, so when I come into Canada, like tomorrow I'll drive over, and they'll say, hey, they'll want to talk about the last game and what's going on tonight, and how's the team doing and all that. So people think I'm in trouble, but I'm just hanging out talking basketball. And then when I come back, into New York again, it's hey, how'd the game go tonight? What's going on? Well, this is my, some guys are Knick fans or Cap fans. They're from, all the Customs guys. They're from different parts of the country, and they want to talk about their team. So it's fun. I enjoy it. And again, it's been I know that QEW.
I would think, yeah.
Really well.
Back of your hand.
And I'll say this: it's been. Western New York's my home now. I've been, as I mentioned earlier, I've been here 38 years. And growing up in Brooklyn, there's something really special about Buffalo. I'm so thrilled that the Sabres are having success. I'm really happy for Lindy Ruff. Obviously, this is probably his last kick of the can. And I'm thrilled that he's able to be part of this now, this resurgence. And I'm really happy for him. He's a good man. He's a good coach. Great coach. And, I look at the Bills, the fact that they are not only staying, but they have a new stadium. I'm a season ticket holder. And I'm just thrilled. It's a great community to live in. It's been a great place to raise a family. I love it here. I am always selling how much I love Buffalo. And I also have the blessing of working in Toronto, which is just, people is just so kind and welcoming and friendly. And I just can't fathom how lucky I am to live here and also be a big part of Canada. And Toronto is a big part of my life, and I'm there. I spend a lot of time there, and I love it. The people what make it. I mean, that's what, having that kind of connection with people. And just, I always, my good friend Pete Gillen has a great line, former coach. He says, I'm just a caraway seed in the bakery of life. And I feel like I'm that little caraway seed in the basketball experience in Canada. And I'm so proud when I look at where Canadian basketball is. This is the Raptors' 31st year in the NBA, and I've been with them 28 of 31. To see now that Canada is number 2 in the world in representation in the NBA, and we have a lot of young ladies playing in the WNBA, just to see the growth of the sport, and just for kids that have grown up watching you, and a lot of these guys are in the NBA, and they come up to you before the game on different teams, the Shea Gilgeous-Alexanders and the Andrew Wiggins and guys like that, R.J. Barrett who plays for us, and they grew up watching us, and
cool.
and so like you're kind of part of the soundtrack of their childhood,
their life, yeah.
And to me, I think that's a big thing. Whereas when leagues are now, and our league is doing it, and the other leagues do it, they focus so much on the national voices, and they forget about the local voices. And I look at a Rick Jenneret, who was here in Buffalo, and Murph with the Bills, and obviously Van Miller. They're the soundtrack. They're the connection. I'm a Fordham guy. I mean, Vince Scully called Brooklyn Dodger and L.A. Dodger games for like 3 to 4 generations. And to me, that's what I'm proud of, is that working in Canada for 28 years now as an analyst, you're part of people's life. You're part of their experience with our sport and promoting the Raptors and promoting the game of basketball. So I can't thank the game enough, and I can't thank all those people and people like you enough for helping me along.
You're a good guy. You deserve it. You've led your life right, and you're always a good guy and somebody that people can count on. So you deserve it. And having said that, I've got to wrap this up.
Okay, let's do it.
I think this is a two-parter. I'm sure it's a two-parter. And there's things I haven't even touched on. The Rusty Jones saga. Remember Rusty Jones?
He's my guy. I love Rusty.
He changed your whole
He's
way
the
of
best.
eating. Yeah. So I'm going to shut up now because
Rusty's the best.
Rusty's the best. Hey, we want to thank the great Jack Armstrong. Have a great Easter, by the way, with your family.
Happy Easter.
And I want to thank Chef's Restaurant. I want to thank Rich Entertainment. And, of course, the Big Weck. Until next time.
And we're going to have lunch, by the way.
We're going to have
here
lunch.
At Chef's. And I'm going to have my spaghetti parm.
Yeah, absolutely. Rusty wouldn't have been crazy about spaghetti parm, but once in a while, right?
I ran this morning already. I'm good.
You're an animal. All right. Until next time, have yourselves a great night and a much better tomorrow.